Hello there, Sarah. Alex here. I know in the past we've had our differences regarding different policy issues, but I know that we both overwhelmingly agree that the mandatory consumption of alcohol, marijuana, and cocaine by every U.S. citizen is a policy we desperately need to implement in this country. We've been deliberating on this day and night for weeks now, and I think it's time to take a moment to look at where we stand and what we can do to resolve our issues. First, let's look at what we agree on. We agree that some monitoring of the participants trying these substances is needed to varying degrees. We also agree that the implementation is important in order to remove the stigma and negativity surrounding these different controlled substances. And finally, we can definitely agree on that the implementation of this policy is just fiscally complicated from multiple angles and requires a lot more thought and research before we can truly implement this in any way that makes practical sense. Now let's go over the disagreements. Now, I think we had a bit of a miscommunication on a specific point I made regarding spacing out the taking of the substances. In my statement, I said that we could have participants take months gap at a time to try each substance so that they're not trying each one at the same time. My only goal is to prioritize safety and the overall health and well-being of the participants. That is why I am definitely for spacing out the various substance trials, whether that is 1 month to multiple months on end, both for flexibility and safety. I understand that you believe in your policy that we should try all substances in one short time frame, e.g. a weekend, both to save time and money. Now, another point that I disagree on is that while I agree on the importance of removing the stigma, I believe this policy should be used for much more than just combating social issues. It should be used to combat real issues and use the policy to research and test addiction and tolerance among people that are truly in desperate need of help. This goal is more towards implementing more action in combating drug abuse and drug addiction, and getting more funding and support for actual addiction treatments. Now, I understand you do not believe this is feasible, primarily due to the amount of people needed to monitor these participants and test the addiction tolerance levels, which leads to budget concerns. I will give my point on this later, but I would like to move to my third disagreement, and that is, I believe that trials can be more efficient if they're to take place at home, both to save money and be more easy and put less strain of comfort on the people. You believe that they should be done offsite in a facility such as a warehouse with other people, both to potentially contain them in one enclosed location, or simply to have more control over the situation. Now let's look at where we can stand on compromises. As I stated previously, I clarified my original statement about spacing out trials. It was all about flexibility and implementing safety as a number one priority. Now, on your issue of people not being able to necessarily get the time off if they have a job or having other obligations that they cannot skip out on, that was the whole idea behind my flexibility plan. And as for the employer issue, I would propose adding a stipulation that would require all employers to get paid time off through this funding plan, through this policy plan that we would attach funding to compensate for this. Now, my second point about using this policy for more than just stigma removal, I would like to give people an option to opt in and out of further trials for this research and testing. While I would love everyone to be involved, some is better than none. I would rather give people an option as to not waste their time, as well as alleviate some budgetary strain. As for the third point, I believe giving people the option to try substances at home or at a separate location is a good compromise. However, I would still advocate for more adequate guidelines on how we want to distance participants as a whole and try to keep it consistent. Now, another point I would like to bring up for a potential amendment to this policy is to potentially just consult health professionals to determine potential alternate age ranges for amending this policy, such as maybe having it be an age between 18 to 21 to try these substances, or maybe just start at 18 and potentially have people just try in high school. It would make it a lot easier. Or just potentially later in 21. There are a lot of options we can consider. The point is, there's a lot of discussion to still have on this, and I will wait to hear your own opinions on how we can come to agreement on this and compromise and develop a good solution for implementing this policy we both desperately desire for the people.